I still got you.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott, and yes, I'm feeling good after Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. Let's go, Oilers! Oh, God, did that feel good. Eugene Braxton is our guest. The Near-Death Riddle is coming up with you. If you haven't heard Eugene before, you are in for a real treat. Let us say hello to everyone in our chat room tonight. Kitty Caddywhack with a gold medal. Eternity Eternal with a silver. Another bronze medal for Race Fan. You know that's killing him right now. Absolutely. Chris 716, how you doing? Robert Lamoth. Tim Mothman and his goatee back in the hot seat tonight. How are you, my friend? Mama Catherine. I love you, Mama Catherine. I hope you're having a wonderful evening, and I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. I know you will. I guarantee you will. Lil Cam on YouTube. He did 500 squats in 2 hours tonight to warm up. 500 squats, 2 hours. His legs are killing him, but he's here tonight, manning up for the cause. Missouri man, how are you? David Norenberg, thanks for coming on in. Ethanol, how are you? Walter Kotchabinski. Mel WD-40 is here lubing us up for tonight's show because Eugene literally said, I'm not coming on unless Mel lubes me up for tonight to talk about the near-death riddle, so that's what Mel is doing as we speak. Bellenia, my man. T-Bone, how's it going, my brother? Good to have you all here. Let's scroll on down. Amanda, thanks for coming on in. Cosmic Joe, good to see you as we continue on with our roll call tonight. Scrolling on down, up next we have, well, a long conversation apparently. Let's see here. Paramarv, how are you, my bud? Good to see you. Jerry O'Brien is here. Jerry O'Brien will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Scrolling on down, JSCO, good to see you. Thomas Rock, Hillbilly Herb, good to have you both here. As we continue on, Operation Shutdown, thanks for coming on in. Rolling on down on the screen here, we got, who's next? Who's next? Come on. Who's next? I'm ready. Flubber Lane, how are you? Commonwealth Andrew is here. Commonwealth Andrew will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. He only signs in proper English. That's right. Proper English. Ozzy Ange, how you doing? Fast Hemi, thanks for coming on in. Rock and Rory, Deadfish, good to have you both here as we continue on with our roll call. Scrolling on down, J Truth Seeker, thank you for joining us tonight. Tyler 420, good to have you here. Tartar Sauce, how you doing? Cat Mum from Cali, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. Kurt M., good to have you here as we continue on with our roll call here. And let's see who is next. Little Timmy James is here. He's going to be broadcasting from home later on the YouTube chat side because he's working on the video for us tonight. Hope you found some stuff. Number 31 in your program, starting in goal tonight from Stockholm, Sweden, Lars Jansson. 2.01 goals against in the playoffs so far. Scrolling on down, who's next on our list? Paramarv, nice to see you. Marty Burback, thanks for coming on in. The Ferret, good to always have you here. Undead Jed, thanks for joining us. Al Garay over on Twitch. Yep, he went into overtime on the squats as well. Did 25,000 freestanding squats during overtime. Yeah, he was moving at a quick pace. That's a good clip, as they say. A good clip. Randolph Guerra, how you doing? Welcome to SOR Chat. Signs of Life, nice to have you back as we continue on with our roll call. And I guess we got to get the radio side on. Grantavius Maximus, how's your mustache? Give us an update, please. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for joining us as we are going to talk about the near-death riddle. Eugene Braxton, author and researcher, will join us momentarily. We are in roll call on our YouTube side saying hello to Eversore and Rexamillion. Good to have you both here as we continue on. And let's see, Fast Hemi. Nina Williams, how are you? And let's see here. Kimberly Burgess, how you doing, love? Nice to have you here. Hi, Kevin Kennedy. And Deborah Rooney is here. But take a bow and wave, Deborah Rooney. Your fans are awaiting. All right, that time of the night to remind you the Super Chat is open. It's a wonderful way to support what we do. And hi, Amy WC. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears towards the little cabin in the woods, where together, my friends, we own the night. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read the news wire. Check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have an amazing show about the near-death riddle tonight. Author, researcher, experiencer, Eugene Braxton will be here momentarily. Then in hour number 3, Swamp Dweller will kick things off with another creepy story. Follow that up by Little Timmy James. He's broadcasting from home tonight on the UFO Report. I love it when Eugene Braxton is on. He is often referred to as America's most experienced mystic. He is a Philadelphia-based researcher and author of renowned for his extensive work in the near-death experiences riddle, out-of-body experiences, and conscious studies. His seminal book, America's Mystic Solves Near-Death Riddle, chronicles his profound NDE at age 15, where he nearly drowned in a lake, and explores the insights he gained from that experience. Eugene's lifelong journey includes thousands of out-of-body experiences, lucid dreams, encounters with paranormal phenomena, which have positioned him in a unique way, so that way he could take the research of consciousness just a little bit further. Let's bring him on now, Eugene Braxton, my good friend. It is always great to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Dave. Good to see you again, my man.
It is always good to have you here, my brother, my friend, and my longtime listener, and a man who possesses so much knowledge in regards to what is going on, not only in the paranormal world, but the ethereal world as well. This all started when you were 15 years old, when you had that near-death experience. Let's introduce you to the audience members who may not be familiar with your story. What happened there?
Yeah, Dave. I had some experiences. I do want to say hi to the chat. They're always pretty cool. I began having experiences, psychic experiences, at age 6. They were out of bodies that were intermingled and interlaced with dreams, lucid dreams, nightmares, almost every kind of a dream aspect you could have. I got really used to them, and I got used to the out of bodies. From age 6 to 16, I had, at the lowest count, I've had at least 12,000 at the lowest count. So they were most heaviest between 6 and 16. So the dreams and these out of bodies that were intermingled with each other, like I'd have a dream one night. I'd have a dream in one night. I have a dream, an out of body, a nightmare, a lucid dream, a flying dream. So I got used to all the various levels of consciousness in the different dream states. That went on heavily for 10 years, and that was cementing the inner experiences. It started off with heavily inner experiences. Sometimes I could hear people talk. Sometimes I could say words to them inside their mind. So I noticed that there was an inside world that we interacted with, particularly at night back then. But as I grew older, the experiences began to blossom in the daytime and at night, where I was psychic 24/7. Because of sports back then, at about age 11, I began doing these breathing exercises because I saw that they helped me in sports, Dave, a lot. And I didn't realize it, but they were also super expanding the psychic experiences that I was already having, and at that age really didn't want to have, because they were just thrust upon me. Also, at the age of 9, I was aware of an invisible world, and I asked God if he could show me all those things that were in the invisible man that no man or king had ever known, that I would always tell people about him. And about 2 years later, they started super heavily. And those were the young days. And yeah, when I was young, I didn't want, it would culminate with a near death at age 15. And then there was some UFO activity. But those were the young years. Mm-hmm.
So as you started to research this, as you aged, because I've talked to a lot of people in this subject over the years, as you know, Eugene, but I would honestly say, you know, without sounding derogatory to any other previous guest on here, but you just seem to have the most interesting grasp and most understanding grasp of this whole subject. How did you start putting it together?
Well, yeah, it helps if it starts young. I didn't want these experiences back then. I just wanted to be a normal teenager, you know, play football, baseball, basketball. But they were forced on me. Then I asked for them. And so, sorry, Dave, the question again?
Just how did you start putting it all together? How did you start building the puzzle?
I began to notice that a lot of the things that I was experiencing were interrelated and interconnected, kind of like separate rooms in God's paranormal mansion. I saw that the dreams were connected to lucid dreams, where I could go from dream to lucid dream, or from lucid dream to dream. I saw that lucid dreams were connected to flying and falling dreams. Now, this is like after months and summers and winters of experiencing and practicing it. I saw that the flying dreams were connected to out of bodies. The out of bodies were connected to cosmic consciousness and the cosmic residue that comes from having an out of body or even a powerful dream. So I saw that those things were connected, and I always wanted to know more about these things, even though they affected my sleep heavily. Uh, and they were kind of spooky too. You're 14 and then you're floating above your bed in spirit body form. That can be a lot for a kid who just wants to play basketball and, talk to the girls and go to school. But I asked for it. The breathing super increased it. Those breathings I was doing for sports, like sometimes I do up to 100 breathings a night, but usually at least 18 or more. And that super packs your body with oxygen and every cell in your body. That helped me in sports, but it super exploded these psychic doors. And I began to see the connections, like I said, the dreams, lucid dreams, the flying dreams, to out of bodies, to out of bodies. When the person gets to the out of body stage, they then begin having psychic experiences in the daytime and at night. So the nighttime excursions and experiences came first, the inner work, and then by the time the out of bodies got around, I was having the experiences 24/7 in the day and at night. And I studied a lot during that time about what these things were. You had to go to libraries back then, or perhaps religious books, but I studied what I could and experimented and experienced it. In the 20s, I would then begin to fully acknowledge it and begin to seriously work with it and experiment and develop those abilities too. Because there was a lot of knowledge in what I was having and what I learned while studying about what I was having. Yeah.
Did you ever look at it and wonder whether or not there was some sort of logical medical issue with you? Did you ever look inside yourself rather than going to the woo and wondering if this was a spiritual experience? Did you ever wonder if it was a medical condition that you were experiencing?
Sometimes I thought with the out of bodies, like when you're coming out of your body and you're completely paralyzed and can't move, even though you want to, I began to wonder if there was maybe a medical thing, but it happened regularly. Sometimes I could literally stop it. Like during the paralyzation stage of the out of bodies, right before the person has an out of body, they're completely paralyzed. And by holding my breath, and it's super hard to even take a breath, but if you breathe through the stomach, you can hold your breath for a second and pop loose from that paralyzation. And that paralyzation state has all kinds of illusions that are happening around you, that are physio-spiritual. They're happening, but invisibly. And in that partially out-of-body state, you can see them, where if someone were in the room, a human, they wouldn't be able to see them. But in that half-sleep state, you would be able to see with your spiritual eye more than what you could while awake. Yeah.
How did you start to develop an understanding that this was normal, that this was part of your consciousness and your spiritual adventure?
Yeah, Dave, that's a good question. Yeah, I started reading where other people had out of bodies, like other people in parapsychology books, other people in the Bible, other people in, that I've read about in Reader's Digest or, hear about in the street. And I began to see that dreams, and I got so used to them night after night that, and there was some element of control, even as a teenager, the control kind of reassured me that they were natural at least, and at least in somewhat in my control. The dreams were softer than the other things, but they are the necessary steps to getting to all those other things. Like the dreams takes you to the lucid dreams where you're awake in the dreams. Lucid dreams can take you to the flying dreams out of body. Then the out of body takes you to the daytime psychic experiences, which will lead to fastings, super advanced high spiritual study, and a lot of other things, like the near death and then the UFO encounters, which were two of the the hallmarks of the psychic history when I was young.
For people who may not understand what it's like to have an out-of-body experience, please tell us what it feels like.
Yeah, there are a few elements in it, including like loss of control, levels of consciousness, a dissolution or dissolving or disappearance of the ego. That's when you're completely out of body. Cosmic consciousness, the spiritual residue of the out of body, the visual aspects of the out of body too. Like, and I'll go over them. Like and initially there is some primal fear in the out of body, but that passes quickly. Where these rhythmic breathing exercises can literally carry you through the out of body while you're happening. But some of the things were paralyzation. In the out of body, it goes through certain steps and stages. Usually starts when the person goes into a deep sleep. You'll slowly feel the paralysis coming from the feet upward, slowly, imperceptibly slow. And they'll feel like a spider web. The breathings that you begin to do from muscle memory, because you're doing them naturally, you're doing them every day, and it's natural for you to take a breathing. The breathings will extend because of the extra air, keep you more awake and extend your continuity of consciousness, how awake you are during this dream experience. And as you continue the breathings, the deep breathings, you'll be awake enough to see exactly what's happening. You'll feel the paralysis. You'll be able to hear your heartbeat. You'll be totally inside yourself. The darker the room, the better, so that your physical vision won't interfere with the oncoming astral vision. Imagination can be good to initiate an out of body. However, once you get to the paralyzation state, that's the last state before you have the out of body. So if you find yourself half paralyzed, half awake, ride it out, use the breathings to keep you in that state, and you'll soon feel yourself lifting out of your body. You also might feel your body going from side to side. And if you imagine yourself rocking, you can literally rock yourself out of your body. So there's paralyzation. There's a slight primal fear when you're fully paralyzed and can't move. And I've tried it many times. When I tried to break free from the paralysis with my own will, it gripped me even tighter until I had to surrender, which is a mystical element in esoteric experiences, surrendering, whether it's like surrendering your will or ego, or your death at the death state. But surrender is an interesting thing where you. But so there's a lot of elements to the out of body, primal fear, the seeing your body separate from the physical, and you can literally look down just by thinking, I want to see where I am, and you'll be able to see behind you without looking. So then that's where the astral vision starts to wake up. In this part, you're partially out and partially in your body. And I'll speak about that later. That shows a dual consciousness and a division of consciousness, like the Carl Jung spoke about. And we can talk about that later too. But yeah, cosmic consciousness, the dissolution of the ego, where you are one with the one. There's a high degree of concentration. And here's a quote about that too. Highly concentrated focus combined with advanced meditation produces a merging into things, where one becomes one with one's object of focus. And you begin to merge into that which you focus on intently. And that's another tenet of the mystic thing, that super focus, where nothing can distract you and someone has to literally touch you to get your attention. That combined with the deep breathings will create a merging effect where you can become one with what you're looking at, person, place, or thing, and ascertain its essence all at once. which is a tenet, the immediate, complete knowledge. That's a tenet of mysticism too. And mysticism is the striving to have that one-on-one union with God. And we can all do it, and we can do it over and over and over. So
I want to
yeah.
ask you about that, my friend, because a lot of people in the spiritual world, whether they're psychics, intuitives, mediums, people are just having a spiritual experience, they always try to say that there is a universal consciousness, there is a higher entity, a higher power. They don't like using the word God because we use the word God in a very religious context, but you were using the word God in all of this. So what do you mean by that? Do you mean by the God that would be biblically, or do you mean there is just an overall God that kind of controls everything?
Yeah, that's a good question too, Dave. I work with 3 world authorities, 2 in near-death and 1 in UFO research. The 2 near-death world authorities were reluctant to use the word God, and were not even allowed to by their university affiliates. They were both at the same university, University of Virginia. They weren't allowed to say the word God. So they called it the controller. I called it the controlling agent in charge. And normal people would call this controller God. And they were not allowed to, and so that's one of the things that they didn't release to the public, the controller. But I'm allowed to, and so I released it to the public. The controller is a paranormal figure that roams throughout any and all esoteric experiences, doing what he or it will. Yeah, we know this controller as God, and that's the ultimate source, the ultimate power, the headstone that you will naturally attract to when in spirit body form. That's the end all to be all. Mm-hmm.
I love it.
No, some call it prime creator, and some call it universal consciousness. It's all the same thing, but it is alive, it's sentient, it loves us, and it's a super interesting thing. It's very protective too.
We have 2.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Eugene Braxton is our guest on the show. The near-death riddle is the topic. What is the difference between an out-of-body experience for people and a near-death? Because you're both leaving your body.
Yes. Yeah, another good question, Dave. The out-of-body experience is something that every human can have and every human does have. But the near-death experience is literally, it's a fully spiritual out-of-body, completely spiritual with symbols, spiritual illusions, voices, levitation. And whereas the atheist can have a regular out-of-body and does during his dream state, although he doesn't usually remember it. We have 2 when we wake up and go back to sleep. But the atheist out-of-body may be constricted to the earthly realms, where the spiritual out-of-body transcends time and space and dimensional thought and movement. Yeah.
So
the vision is different too.
One people feel you're dying. The other one feels that you are just leaving your body, exposing yourself to the universal elements.
Yes. Say it again.
One, you feel like you're dying and moving on, but the other one, you're kind of just leaving your body and opening yourself up to the universal elements.
Yes. Yeah, the person never really dies. That life force in us changes and goes on. And the out-of-body experience for the atheist, it can show him exactly what happens what will happen at the moment of death. They will exit their spirit body and wake up approximately 7 to 10 feet from it. You'll see your spirit body. You'll remember, wow, I just had the heart attack. And then you will go on upward throughout the ascension levels. Yes, there is a life after death, and the person will be. Go ahead.
We're going to get more into that when we return from our break here. Hard to believe we're already a half hour in to the show tonight. Eugene Braxton, author, known as America's Most Mystic. Oh, I love this gentleman. Their Near-Death Riddle coming up on the Mighty SOR. We'll be right back. All right, we are clear. And another amazing start by you. God, I could listen to you speak for hours, my friend.
That was a pretty good hap, actually. Yeah, it's got warmed up, got into it.
You know what I'm putting on my bucket list? I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to put it on my bucket list one night. I want to be sipping a glass of tequila or a glass of beer, cold beer, and I just want to listen to you talk. That's all I want to do is just listen to you talk and just go through every piece of information that you have learned over your lifetime, because you are just so brilliant. You really are.
Dave, we would have like a 5-hour talk, probably like a 12 midnight to 6, you know?
I'm okay with that.
So
I am
I.
very much okay with that.
Yeah. I'm down for that, yes. And we'll probably be meeting within a year, so we can,
I hope
you
so.
know, yeah. And we
I
can
hope so.
also meet. We don't have to wait to the reunion. We can meet at any time. But yeah, that'd be fun. Imagine the things that we would cover.
Oh man. Yeah. There are very few people that I could just sit back, shut up and listen to. I would put you on that list. I would put Jim Goodall on that list, Grant Cameron on that list. Who else would I put on my bucket list like that?
Well, you have some outstanding guests. Yeah, there's a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's just some that stand out, and this isn't an insult to any other guest. There are just some that just stand out a lot more. John Brandenburg, I would put on that list.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh yeah, that's a tough list to be on, man.
Yeah, well, we will have that talk. 2, 3, 4-hour talk. Because, like you said, get 3 or 4 beers each and just go and
Just let
talk.
it happen.
Yeah.
Let it happen. I'm good with that.
Yeah, because there's always stuff that I don't tell the public that I can tell a person individually. Some people ask about the psychic powers, how to use them and stuff. That's fun. Mm-hmm. Dave, I'm going to hit the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, we got about 3.5 minutes.
Okay, that's perfect.
All right, I'll just take you out there. All right. How awesome is Eugene Braxton? God, I love this guy. He's just so smart. So smart. There are certain people who just are able to elevate their knowledge and present it to the rest of the world. Eugene's one of them. He really is. Don't tell him I'm talking behind his back, though. Justin Stafford, welcome to SOR Chat. Hi, Warden Dragon. How are you? Let's see. Mennonite Abe, I'm going to put that as a question about his thoughts on the telepathy tapes, okay? Joe Zuniga, how are you? From Houston, Texas. Just for you, my friend. Just for you. Look at that. Look at that. Right there. F.U. Zeddy. Thank you, Deborah Rooney. Big thank you to Deborah Rooney, Mark, JSCO, Amy, and T-Bone for the awesome super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support. And you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. And here we go. Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you tuning us on in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hey, we want to remind each and every one of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here's our good friend Eugene Braxton. He is a mystic. He is an author. He is an experiencer. And Eugene, we want to talk about the near-death riddle with you. Where can people find your book?
Yeah, the best place is to go on my website. It's at Wix, W-I-X, at Eugene Braxton at Wix.com. Or you can just Google me and go to the website there. That's the best place because the publishers take 90% and Amazon like that. So it's better to get it from the author. And I usually stay in contact with anyone who gets it from me. That's no problem.
Got a lot of people asking in the chat room if you could explain what happened during your near-death experience.
Yeah, Dave, yeah.
I'm going to get you to bring your microphone a little bit closer to your mouth, if you don't mind.
Okay. Oh, yeah. In fact, let me put it back. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay. I can turn it up, too. Yeah, my near-death. Like I said, I played sports as a kid. Did those breathing meditations. Swam competitive swimming in high school and did water polo, and we swam in the Ohio lakes where I lived and waterfalls. I could really swim. Went to this lake with a picnic church group in 10th grade. I was 14. Jumped high up off the dock of the lake and got stuck in the muck down below. I was stuck up to the knee, the left knee, and I could not get out. I was a weightlifter, a swimmer, basketball. I could not jerk out of that tar-like muck. It was the thickest tar. Another black track star had died there a few years before. I held my breath as long as I could, sucked in all of the water, and that was the beginning of the near-death and of the struggle for life and death. I went through several stages, I guess, during the near-death, and that was the first one, the struggle for life and death, or death, where anything that's alive, whether it be a little ant or a human, will struggle and try to stay alive into its last breath. And that's what the person does. When the person sees that I'm not going to get out of this one, there is a surrender again, and the person realizes this is it. Let it happen. And at that point, the pain fully shuts off. Right after that point of surrender, the pain fully shuts off, and the person can I could literally breathe again. I was warm. I was before shivering in that bone cold lake water, and I hate cold. I hate the cold. I was shivering, couldn't stop. But once that surrendered into the life or death struggle that I knew I wouldn't win, a peaceful feeling came over me, a warmth came over me. I knew somehow that as I was dying, that I would somehow be all right. And it was a slow death. It was different, but a similar and a little cousin to going to sleep. The levels of consciousness dimmed down. The time changed, and that's a sign that you're having a spiritual thing, when time begins to slow down or even possibly speed up. But in this case, it slowed down. My level of consciousness went down. I could feel each organ without knowing where they were, because I was only 14, and what they were. I knew the liver just went out, the kidneys are gone, the lungs are gone, the spleen. I could feel them, all the main organs going out. And I knew exactly what they were and where they were, even though I was only a 14-year-old. I somehow automatically knew, which is another sign that you're entering a higher level of consciousness. And we'll talk about consciousness and dimensional time and space in that second hour too. But so I noticed I was able to watch every aspect of the death state, how the heartbeat was the last thing to go, along with the hearing, how the organs went out, how the paralysis slowly came up again from the toes up. The partial regrets a person may have if they're dying, regretting not talking to that girl or not trying to shoot that basket for the championship. All of those things, primal fear, knowing that I'm going to die and I have no control over it. There is a magnetic-like pull that's akin to the same pull in an out-of-body, where when you have an out-of-body and you're standing close to your bed, it can suck you back in. It was that same magnetic pull in reverse that was pulling me into the depth sleep. And I knew it, and you can feel it. I was glad I wasn't awake where it wasn't a sudden death, so I could see and notice it. And in those stages, in the spiritual experiences, the person will naturally become more analytical and more stoic and more Spock-like, where you're fully observing something without emoting to it. In that way, you can see the reality of what's really happening in those spiritual realms, because they're heavily filled with spiritual illusions that are interlaced with reality. And when you, like I said, the concentrated focus during advanced meditation, you can pierce that veil of illusion and see the essence, identity, or truth of what you seek. So humans have a lot of abilities. But getting back to the near death, so the death state, I watch everything shut down. The heart at the end did stop, and along with the hearing, I heard a large boom, and everything went black. And that was the dark void. So we have the struggle for life and death, the death slowdown, and this is the death sleep, where you're going out. And there's a magnetic whooshing, a pulling sensation where you're pulled into it. There's a sudden darkness. You're enveloped in what a human would call a coma-like cocoon. You cannot see, you can feel, you are aware that you exist somewhere in time and in space. There is no heartbeat, no sight, no sound. You're just there. And some have surmised that that may be what hell would be like, an eternal, awake coffin-like existence where you're just there, but it's like it literally be an eternal coffin. So that didn't last long, though. What was happening?
Really?
No, it didn't. It lasted between 15 and 22 seconds, Dave. What was happening is the same thing that happens during an out-of-body, except the death is a permanent out-of-body. In a regular out-of-body, just like in death, it takes the spirit body approximately 15 to 22 seconds to bobble up out of the physical, drift a few feet away, and then the person regains consciousness after death inside their invisible spirit body, which is the real them. The old body, when you look at it, it seems almost like a mannequin because the real you is there looking at it. When that happens, the whole universe opens up. And after I regained consciousness after death, it takes 15 to 22 seconds, same amount of time it takes you to come out of your body. And the out of body is the little sister to the near death, or the big, the near death is a big brother to the out of body. And that's another connection. So I was used to out of body, so this wasn't too bad of a thing. I regained consciousness after death. I suddenly awoke, hovering somewhere in time and space. I was alive because I was thinking, like I think, therefore I am. And I didn't know what, I knew that I was in an invisible realm or dimensional location of some kind. I didn't know what time I was in until I looked down and saw my dead body. I realized I was in the time of death, my own death, and I was in the space of the afterlife. In those invisible realms, there is no, like, I'm going to die in an hour. Time kind of goes by events. Like I regained consciousness after death, or I saw God. Where in those invisible realms, time can be more of a measurement, like from here to here. But there is no time that you can say I did something. But you can recall and even revisit events. So I regained consciousness after death, saw my dead body, realized that, wait a second, there's my dead body. My leg was still stuck in the muck. I realized that I was alive, yet I had just died. And I was super glad to be alive. Once I realized that I wasn't alive, I looked around, saw my surroundings. I suddenly appeared floating and levitating in a life review room. I can show you guys here. I found myself in that round thing in the middle. It was a life review room. I saw all these things in my mind. So I found myself awake and floating in a life review room. I suddenly appeared in that room that had no ceilings or floors. I was floating in the middle of it and accepting it normally. Inside that round band that went around and around, and later on I'll get the smaller picture. Inside the round band that went around and around, there were 3 screens. One showed me everything I did, everything I thought, everything I ever said. And it showed me it all together, like you shuffle a deck of cards where you can see each one. It comes at you multi-dimensionally. And your subconscious mind, which is the conscious mind of your spirit body, can easily handle that and take it all in at once. There was a voice as I was floating there. As I saw these images, as I saw these images, a voice, I could feel what I had done to others and how, whether good or bad, how they had felt. I felt the same way. Whatever I did to them, I felt immediately, I took their place and felt my own actions toward them. And I literally felt like when I was a kid, I threw a rock at a kid in the near-death life review. I was the kid running, and I could feel the rock hit me as he did. He would later throw the rock back at me and hit me in real life, but every little minute thing. And occasionally a person can have a memory leap where they'll suddenly remember something from age 3 or age 2. And fasting can help that. Also, mugwort. I've been trying that. The herb mugwort has been good with that. I initially tried it for dreams, but it's also good for recapturing and sudden faraway memories that you haven't thought of in years, decades. They just suddenly appear. But getting back to the near death, the life review, everything I did, said, or thought, there was a voice asked me, what have you done for yourself to help yourself? What have you done to help others? And have you have you always believed in me? I saw the voice as the voice of God, especially because of have you always believed in me? But the voice asked me those 3 questions. What have you done for yourself? What have you done for others? Have you always believed in me? And when I said I had always believed in you, and he knew the answer was going to be that, there was another lapse of consciousness where I appeared on a beach-like setting, similar to that movie Contact, Dave. Now, as this voice during the life review asked me those questions, on the side of my peripheral, there was like a Son of God figure exhorting to God in my behalf that I should be allowed into heaven, which would be the higher ascending levels in the second that leads to the third heaven. Earth is the first heaven. The invisible realm is the third heaven. That's where UFOs, near-death, astral bodies, and all that happens. And then the third heaven is where God lives. And that's what's coming up. So there was a Son of God-like figure, or some would call him a spiritual lawyer, exhorting in my behalf to let him in, that he's only 14, he's been good. God knew that I had always believed in him. The scene changed. There was a lapse of consciousness. That's always something to look out for, because when a lapse of consciousness occurs, something may have and probably had happened in between where you were and where you got to. So always look for a lapse of consciousness, whether it be a dream in real life or in an out of body. Mm-hmm. So, yes.
Do you mind if I jump in with a couple questions? Because your stories are amazing.
Yes.
But when you had your near-death experience, was it straight peace and blissful? Or was there anything looking back in time to where maybe you didn't make the best decisions and you felt that guilt about that?
The life review would be the guilt part. And the blissful nirvanic feelings is coming ahead, right at that beach-like setting. That's where that starts. The first half of the near-death, of a person's near-death, generally deals with their physical, earthly life. The second half deals with the person's progressions into the higher ascension levels. And yes, the first half deals with the earthly life. Second half, the higher dimensionality of the person. Did that answer it, Dave?
Well, just in regard to was it all peace and blissful, or was it a little bit scarier?
The scary part, the primal fear happened in the struggle for life and death. The blissful parts, the blissful nirvanic, heartfelt rose opening up comes the closer one gets to God. And so we're leaving kind of like that earthly section of the near death and going on to the higher divine heavenly aspects of it. So I was on this beach, just like in the movie Contact. There was no one in sight, and on the far edges of the beach I saw the sun rising. It was orange, and I was like, all right. And as the sun rose, I slowly rose in unison with it. And as it came across the sky, I rose up with it. Till we were about a half of a soccer field away from each other in the air. The orange sphere, it looked like a planet coming in. Like I said, the sun. The orange sphere radiated and pulsed with the effects one would expect from an orange. Health. This is where the healing would come in. This is where the anything related to health and vitality and energy would come in. So these were life-giving rays that I was feeling. And I felt them, really. They were just like radiation goes through the body a lot of times and doesn't burn the outer skin. So too with this heavenly, this celestial rays that went inside of the person's physical body. Infrared is infrared radiation, but spiritual light. And light gives off information which would come. I was levitated in the air. The sphere, without seeing it change, and on its trajectory, went from orange to red. The red was God's forgiving phase, where he forgives you before his final and easy judgment. There is a judgment, but there really isn't. If you believe in him, you're automatically in. There's no anything else can be dealt with. His primary concern is, did you believe in him when you were alive on earth? My brother, when he died, did a deathbed conversion because he was in a Catholic hospital, nuns all around him. He knew, and he was a rough atheist, as a rough person. He knew that something was on the other side, and he didn't want to deal with that with his own willpower. So the orange light turned to red. It was a sphere, a sun sphere. And in the invisible realms, circles, spheres, rings, hoops, the ring of Saturn, those are super normal to see, celestial spheres or planets. And I woke up in a life-giving green biosphere that disintegrated in time as my consciousness dawned. As my consciousness dawned after death, the life-giving sphere, and some call it a Merkaba, began to disintegrate in alignment with the dawning of my consciousness. There's a lot of intriguing aspects in my near-death, and in any near-death. So this red light was God's forgiving. And this is what started, Dave, those rapturous feelings of ecstasy, primal ecstasy, nirvanic bliss. This is what the mystics and yogis talk about, this level of nirvanic bliss. And it is one where one could stay in there forever. It's or literally orgasmic, where the person is being shaken to the extent where it became suspicious. And I was watching it fully, because like I said, the person wants to remain in that Spock-like state. So you can look past the illusions and see the truth of what you're looking for or experiencing. And so I noticed the spiritual illusions. I noticed the red sun sphere that was shaking me like a paint can. And I felt the orgasmic undulating waves that
Right.
Yes.
Sorry to bug you. We have about 2 minutes to go here. I want to ask you, if people who claim to have the near-death experience say how peaceful, how loving, and everything was, why do so many people, such as myself, absolutely fear death?
Because they think it's the end. Yeah, just like with the out of body, you think it's the end too. But if you let go in the out of body, you'll just literally either go through the floor or float up to the ceiling. It's the fear of death. Yeah. But the near death is something that the person will want to have. No one wants to have a bad near death, but you can have the same effects by having a powerful dream. And you can control a dream, have dream control, and have a powerful dream where you see the white light, which is coming up after the red light. And that's what would bring on the life-changing, life-altering after effects. The white light was the strongest of all the lights. The red light was the heart forgiveness of God, the red love, the ecstasy, the rapture, But their white light was like spiritual science. That's where you get the information. That's where you really accelerate and you are one with everything. It's
I think that's great. Eugene, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to get ready to go to break here at the top of the hour. You know, sometimes when you have a great show, it flies on by. And that's what we are getting tonight from author, researcher, experiencer Eugene Braxton, America's most experienced mystic. Is what he likes to call him, the near-death riddle. You can get his book on his website, eugenebraxton.wix.com. Check it on out. When we return on Spaced Out Radio, Eugene will join us, and we're going to get into the paranormal connection with the near-death riddle. Next on the Mighty SOR. This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott. All right, we are clear. Eugene, I'm just going to take a quick break here. I'll step away. I'm going to put you back in the green room, and I'll be right back, okay?
all right, Dave, my man.
All right. Eugene Braxton will be back here momentarily. See you in a couple minutes. I am back. Wish you guys could see it outside here right now because 10 o'clock, it's still, the sun is just setting. It's kind of cool. And as we draw closer to solstice, it's kind of cool. It's very enjoyable. You guys have some good questions tonight. I'll be getting to questions a little bit earlier. Yes, at my house, Christine, we do get the Aurora Borealis. Right now, I don't think it's flaring right now. Last week we got it. It was really cool. Hey, I want to say a big thank you to Grant and Lee tonight for UFO Max. Right before this show, they did a great job. Every Wednesday, 1 hour power hour of UFO talk on UFO Max. Don't forget, you got Dirty Filth show on Saturday starting at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on our channel where he draws a live cartoon. And, of course, Sweet Robbie G on the weekends with After Hours. Lots of cool programming. Friday night, Tim and Lee again with Element 115. Thank you tonight to Mark ×2, T-Bone, my man, Amy, JSCO, and Deborah Rudy for the great super chats. We greatly appreciate your love and support. Our store is open on our website. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So here we go with hour number 2. Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Raptus. Raptus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. The man, the myth, and the mystic all wrapped into one. Eugene Braxton, a great researcher in the field of near-death studies and paranormal, and we're going to tie it all together with America's most experienced mystic. You can find his book on his website, eugenebraxton.wix.com. Eugene, welcome back.
Thanks, Dave. Good to be back.
You talk about there is a tie with aliens, the paranormal, supernatural, when it comes to the near-death riddle, the out-of-body experience. How does that all tie together?
Well, it's easy to see. Well, it's fairly easy to see how the dreams, the out-of-body would lead to an out-of-body near death. And especially if you've had them or you've had a lot of out-of-bodies, you can see where the connections are with that. As far as the aliens go, it's there. There is a connection, a heavy one. Since I'm on your show, Dave, of course, I'm going to say it here first. There's a heavy one, and it's not readily seen. It's imperceptible at normal vision, and even after prolonged interfacing um, with the a person can understand the near death if they have heavy out of bodies, just like a person can understand dreams if they have, heavy out of bodies, or the lucid dreamer can understand dreams. So if the person understands completely the near death, and it does have a certain pattern structure that can be followed, patterns, structures that can be followed. If you know the near death experience fully, you can see the alien connection. And so, in fact, I saw some things that intrigued and alarmed me enough to go to Dr. Jacobs, the UFO World Authority, who happened to work on the same campus, Temple, where I did. In fact, his building was right next door to the police department where I worked. I was a free roamer. I could go anywhere I want on campus. And during the day and after the day was over, I would go in his office. We'd talk for hours. And that lasted for 12 years. I wanted to see what he thought about some of the anomalies I saw in the near death, and what he thought about them being UFO connected. And he said, Eugene, you're 100% right. And the near-death World Authority saw nothing of that and weren't looking for it. And neither was Dr. J. It had to be pointed out to him. Just like where there are some things where just like you have these puzzle things where you don't really see what's in the puzzle until it's pointed out. Then you see it fully. That's how that connection is. But if you know the near-death, especially the way I describe it, because I describe it when I was working with the world authorities. It lasted 5 years, and I had to write in a way where they could understand what was happening. I couldn't just tell them what happened. I had to tell them what really happened, with measurements, levels of consciousness, changes in the physiology of this invisible spirit body, merging with God's essence, all of that. And you would expect that for someone who worked one-on-one with the world authorities. It's interesting with near-death researchers these days. But yeah, the alien thing. And Dr. Kenneth Ring, earlier in the 80s, surmised of a connection, but couldn't see the fullness of it. I came after him. I had the out-of-bodies, the dreams, the haunted houses, any kind, the psychic, any kind. I have had every kind of psychic experience in the past. I saw and advanced what he had to the next level. I saw a full connection, checked it out with Dr. Dre. He saw it too. And then we continued on for 12 years. But there's a connection, a strong one. And just as there's a certain thing called subsets, and not with math or anything like that, but esoterically a subset, like the subset of a dream would be that the person is in bed fast asleep. The subset is the underlying reality of an experience or an image. The near-death has a subset, and so does the UFO alien abduction, which is an interesting thing in its own right, the abduction thing. That's the UFO abduction generally brings primal fear, where the near-death, life after death, of course, almost always brings primal ecstasy, because it's with the divine levels, it's with God, the spiritual light, the white light, the life-changing. But the other thing, the UFO abduction almost always brings extreme primal fear. People are freaked out and changed heavily. That was one of the things Dr. Ring noticed, the strong after effects in both near-death and UFO abductions. Heavily So I looked into that and then took that to the next level. Since I saw they weren't studying other fields, only their own. I, as a person who worked with any kind of scientist, would have to have a full understanding, and then because of the mystic psychic things, had a full understanding of all those other fields and saw into it way more than they could. Some of those kind of scientists never had a near death or never seen a UFO. Dr. Jacobs knew a lot and had a fantastic memory, fantastic, but he never saw a UFO in real life. I've seen 5. There's a way you can ask and make psychic experiences come onto you, but there's a definite connection.
Do you find that paranormal activity increases once you have a spiritual happening like a near-death experience or out-of-body experience? Does a door open up to the other realm?
Yes, it does, Dave. Even from a powerful dream. A powerful dream might be described as a dream which you remember after you wake up, which shows it probably was more than a dream if you can remember it, because dreams usually fade away like mist when we get up and go about our daily things. The person has to lie there. Once they wake up, do not move. Lie there completely still. Close your eyes once you know you're safe and go back into a dream. Go back in reverse. Remember the last thing you can remember, then the thing before that, then the thing before that. If that gets sticky, put some crystals and silver underneath your pillow or on your wrist and stuff. That'll bring it in super clear. So there's a lot to learn and a lot to know.
Let's get to some audience questions here because they are building up. This was a comment by one of our listeners on YouTube named Undead Jed. I've been trying 53 years to get back in a dream I had when I was 5. Is that even possible?
Yes. The person can literally, with dream control, and especially if you employ a mixture of remote viewing, which I did to help me re-verify what had happened to me in the near death. I couldn't rely on just memory alone. I had to go back to the near death drowning in astral/remote viewing form. The astral body, the astral viewing is the same thing as remote viewing, except in astral body, you're there physically. Remote viewing, you can see it from far away lying in the bed. You see it mentally, but an astral body, you literally see it physically, which means you merge with it and feel the death scene, whatever happened. So a lot of remote viewers try not to remote view too much because you're literally in the scene of the stabbing, either being the one stabbed or doing the stabbing. But with his question, getting back into that dream, yeah, you want to do have dream control, focus on any of the scenes that you can remember, do those breathings, which will keep you awake as you go to sleep. That dream scene will begin to materialize in your mind's eye, in the darkness of your mind. You'll see it. At first, it'll look like indistinguishable forms. But as you do the breathings and go deeper into that mystic trance or that half awake, half asleep state, the images will begin to form the what you visualize in your mind. And you want to visualize the dream and what you remember of that dream back then. And you'll literally, with the aid of the breathings, be able to walk back into it. But if you want to have dreams, tell yourself, I want to go back to that dream. But learn about dream control. You can get a book called Lucid Dreaming by Stephen DeBarge. There's some super good books out, a lot of the older ones before the year 2000. But yeah, dream control can get you back there. You might want to try some mugwort because, well, let's see, this is a dream. So, but yeah, think about it heavily, impress it upon your mind, and the dream will pop back into you, usually at night and then during the day later. The experiences generally happen in the quietness, when at nighttime, in the invisible. The invisible happens first, in via dreams or hunches, and then it manifests into physical reality. So yeah, you can do that.
Let's move on to another question here. Let's go to Derek in Florida. Eugene, is it true that some have not returned from astral travel?
Not really, no. Because of that umbilical cord. There's the silver cord that connects you, usually from the back of your head or the front of your stomach. And unless that is broken, then those who have the permanent death will not come back. Yes, so it is semi-true. But as long as that cord is intact, you'll be pulled back in, which happened to me twice when I tried to stay out longer than it wanted, and it yanked me through the air back in.
What about the stories of entities that are trying to look for bodies where the soul has kind of moved on and maybe take over the body?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing that religious people, priests, and stuff, and even witches and stuff have talked about and know about. It's called soul interception, where and supposedly it could happen at the during and out of body, but at the moment of death, in between death and reconsciousness after death, that 15 to 22 second dark void time I talked about. Some people surmise or postulate that possibly a malevolent spirit could swoop in, intercept the soul, or take its place and get back into the body. That's not going to happen. I mean, it's a good, interesting theory, and one that could put fright into a person, but no one can literally take your body or take your soul. Like if they tried that before they even got close, you'd be snapped back into your body and fully awake. And your subconscious will give you usually two chances, but give you 12 to 12 seconds before you have to react. It'll alert you ahead of time. In this case, it'll snap you back into your body. But if you believe in God, and that is also that's the main protection you can have, that armor of God. But no one can take your soul or jump into your body unless in a fractured, mentally schizoid state in real life. But they can't inhabit your body in a dream or astral body. You can interact with entities, but they can't get into you. You can go through them, and they can go through you, but they can't stay in you. And you can feel them go through. It's an interesting question.
All right, let's move on to another one here. Let's go over to Little Cam, who is asking, Eugene, do you believe that humans have hundreds of chakras instead of the mainstream idea that we only have 7?
That's pretty good, Little Cam. Yeah, you would think, and maybe that they're only charting the main chakras, because there has to be individual chakras and meridians all through the body, especially like the brain. So I would think that he's right. I would think that we should and probably do have more. Those would be the main ones, though.
Let's go over next to Mennonite Abe. I wonder what Eugene thinks about the telepathy tapes. Let's talk telepathy here for a moment.
What are these telepathy tapes?
Well, there is a set of tapes out there believing that many kids, especially children and people with autism where they are nonverbal, non-communicative, actually are able to communicate with their parents and loved ones and teachers through telepathy by projecting mental images into what they want, what they need, what they're hungry for, when they need a shower, when they're tired, every emotion.
Yeah, that seems fully possible and right, because the more nonverbal you are, the more your inner self arises and awakens. Like some days, everyone should do this at least once a week if you can. Go all day without saying anything to anyone, unless you really have to. And just think inside, and a whole different kind of sensitivity and world will open up to you. you'll feel things a lot more. And so I definitely believe that. Because the less verbal you are, the way more intuitive you are. It's good to be nonverbal, especially when someone's talking to you. If you focus on someone for 30 seconds or more, fully focused on them while they're talking to you, their words will dim down, and you'll be able to see the essence identity of what they really want, trying to do, mean, their character, all that. And there's a lot to be said for like focused concentration. But
Have
yeah,
you
I
been
think that
able to sorry, have you been able to figure out telepathic communication on yourself?
Son and I do it a lot. And yeah, I had this, like in the 80s when I was developing these psychic things, I had this thing where I would look at a person on the bus and he would already be in a half drowsy state. And I would say, I'm going to try and put him to sleep. And so I'd look at the back of his head, right where, the psychic center is. And I would say inside my mind, sleep, sleep. And usually on the third sleep, you'd see his head go down. If he were, and Dave, if he were a little stiff and resistant to staying awake, I would say, sleep, sleep. And then I would take a deep breath and blow out. And when I blew out, it would fully knock him out. But I remember during this one Mick Jagger song, where in the middle of the song, he would say, look at me. He whispered, look at me. I don't remember what song it is. You guys would know. But he said that, and that's when you talk inside your mind like that to someone, they hear you. Their subconscious hears you first. You say it twice or three times, a part of them will hear you. And if they're in a calm, leisurely mood, like watching the news or riding on a bus, they'll hear you. And they might even look around. I've gotten people to turn around too by saying, look at me, while looking at the back of their head. So yes, there's a heavy, like that would be one of the things we talk about when we talk for 5 hours straight.
But isn't it also telepathic when you have those moments where you feel something or someone staring at you? Maybe you're on a street corner, or maybe you're in the forest and there's a deer staring at you, or maybe you're at a shopping mall and you feel somebody's looking. You turn and look, and they're staring at you. I mean, isn't that telepathy as well? That their energy is telepathically telling you that I'm here.
I mean, they are related, but the one telepathy goes out. It's like you're sending it out. The other one is more empathic, where you're receiving it or feeling it or being sensitive to it. So one is thrown out, and then the other is received, or you're aware of it.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let's move on to another question. We got 2 minutes, so this will be our final question before we go to break here. This goes to Christine. Okay, we've already discussed your near-death experience, so I'm going to move on to another question. Cat Mom from Cali, first-time listener in our chat room. Could a person share a lucid dream with another person at the same time?
Yes, Cat Mom from Cali, yes. Good question. And it shows that the normal people are usually more smarter than these scientists. And more can be learned in ordinary conversation like this than in all the arts and sciences. When you talk to normal, regular people, you can learn a lot. But yeah, you can do that. That's with dream control. The breathings will help fully. In this case, two people would agree on meeting at the same spot. I did this with my cousin. She failed to stay awake long enough, but I popped into the spot in out-of-body form, which is the same thing as dream form. Like you can say, all right, let's meet in front of the McDonald's. You will seem like you're having a dream about that you're in front of McDonald's, but you'll realize that, it's the same time that I just fell asleep at. Like it's 3 o'clock when I went to sleep, it's 3 o'clock here. You can tell by the sun. Yes, you want to have both people visualize a contact spot that they both are familiar with. It'll seem like you're meeting them in a dream. Once you realize, hey, I'm at that spot where I plan to meet, the scene will change and you'll be there in real life, but invisible. So it's good to practice these things and learn about them, because a dream can
Right.
easily switch to an out of body.
All right, my friend, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. EugeneBraxton.wix.com is his website. You can get his book there. More questions for Eugene Braxton when we return on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned, everybody.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, my man, we are clear.
Okay,
This is
good.
Good show tonight.
Oh, good. In fact, later I have some quotes, and if you don't mind, we did this on Rob's show. I have a quick psychic experiment, a test for the chat. Can we do that? You think?
We can do that. Let me burn through a few more questions here from our audience, and then we'll get to that, okay?
Okay, Dave.
You having fun so far?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I wanted to have that background. I had a nice portrait, but it's been good. Usually I don't like. I'm always. I always try and give you guys the most info, and I have some nice quotes and other stuff. But usually the interviews with you always go real well, and I'm like doubly surprised when I look at it later. But we should do well in this one, Dave.
Oh, yeah. It's doing great.
Mhm.
We are doing great tonight. I'm so appreciative of you, my man.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been always good to be here.
Oh,
Oh,
for sure.
so can I do these psychic experiment?
Yeah, we'll wait until let's do them
Oh,
on the air.
okay, yeah, that'd be even better. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do them on the air where it's a little more fun.
Yeah, it's been good.
All right. We got about just over 3.5 minutes.
Okay, maybe I'll go take a quick puff of the cig.
All right. I'll put you in the back. See you in about 3 minutes. All right. Let's get to that question there. Got you, T-Bone. T-Bone, my man. Thanks, Mennonite Abe. Joe, what are you pissed off at? Is nobody oobing you? Is that what it is? Not enough oobing towards Joe. Everybody spell oob to Joe. Make him feel better. No problem, Jed. There you go, Joe. Do 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 do. High necessary dialogue. Look at that. Joe's being generous here. Where are you here? Where did it go? There it goes. Everybody gets an oob. Dead man, how you doing? Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Mark, I'll get to your question in a few seconds here as well when we return, because I know that was attached to a super chat as well. Oh, that's funny. A friend of mine who lived on Elm Street named Nancy used to have disturbing dreams about a guy with razor fingers. I love it. Phineas Coathanger on X. How are you, my man? Good to see you. Wayne Sacrilege, how you doing? Big thank you tonight to Mark ×2, Deadman, Debaruni, JSCO, Amy, and T-Bone for the great super chats. Appreciate the love. Jerence Carter, how are you? Appreciate you. Remember, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. We got a few things coming in the hopper here soon. We do. Here we go, everybody, in like 7 seconds. All right, here we go with the second half of Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We're interviewing Eugene Braxton, America's most, well, I always forget what you call yourself there. America's most experienced mystic. That's the one. For some reason, I can never remember the word experienced on that. You're just a damn good mystic, Eugene. You really are. But before we bring Eugene back on, we want to say that we want to remind you our archives are always free. You know where to find them? Every major podcast network like Spotify, Apple iTunes, Google Play, all the good ones, iHeartRadio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Yeah, we do. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Eugene Braxton is here, America's most experienced mystic. You can find his website, eugenebraxton.wix.com. Eugene, we're going to continue with some audience questions here, but you want to have an experiment with the audience in a little bit here, so let's get right to it. Let's just do this thing.
Okay, we're...
Well, let's get to some questions here first. I want to start off with Mark here. He's asking, there are commonalities, but adversely, there are some broad deviations reported in near-death experiences. Eben Alexander, for one. Why do you think this is?
Even with the butterfly thing. I mean, these are individual symbolic experiences. A lot of times, and like I said, they're intertwined with illusions. So a person may be looking at something like Marilyn Monroe sitting on a butterfly, and she may not even really be there. After the near death, the person needs to take, and usually it takes at least 7 years of reflection upon what they saw, and so that they can, just as a 25-year-old female can understand at a greater depth than a 5-year-old, so too will the experiencer in time, especially after somber reflection, judicious review, and spiritual revelation. You'll be able to see more into your own near death and see what was fully real, what was symbolic, what was illusion, and what was not real. It's a thing. Everyone's near death. They have to focus on their own near death and others, but see the truth of it for themselves. So yeah, you get some broad ones, but the commonalities and similarities are structurally the same.
All right, let's get to another question. Let's go to Little Cam. They say your brain serves DMT upon death. Do you believe that this is a thing?
Secretes DMT. I've heard that scientists and doctors say that something does happen with DMT at death, but they also say that the DMT has no effect on the near death. And really no drug does. That just surpasses everything. I mean, when you deal with something that can resurrect you from death, that goes beyond any chemical or molecule or anything like that. Yeah, they have checked out the DMT, but they see that it doesn't really have any effect on death. Maybe a drug trip or an out of body, but not on the near death. It just obliterates everything, like a penicillin type of thing. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on to another one. Let's go to T-Bone. Where does reincarnation fit in?
It's I knew that question would come up. It's an interesting topic, one that even my dad entertained when I was a late teenager. But for me, like I said here before, I don't want to come back here. If we did come back, we should be able to come back with our own memories of the past life or of any past lives we may have had. That would fully help. That would fully help to erase the memories of who we were and then have to go through this again. I don't need that. I don't believe in it. And I don't even want that to happen, reincarnation. I believe that we're all super unique souls. There's only one Dave Scott. There'll only be one Dave Scott. Only one me. And both of us have sons. So God doesn't make copies. He makes individuals. And we're all super important to him. And we're more important than we realize. The demons understand how important, but we don't. So yes, I don't want reincarnation. I don't think that there is a reincarnation. I don't think God would play that kind of game with us. Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on here. Let's go to Joe. Eugene, when I died, I saw a beautiful alpine meadow. Is that where I'm supposed to be?
Yeah, a pastoral scene or a valley, sweeping meadows, green trees. That's super good and super normal and standard for a near death. And that's a high thing to see and experience. It'd be interesting. Yeah, I heard about your near death, Joe Monk, a couple of weeks ago in the chat. Be interesting to examine the feelings that you had when you were in that, when you saw that meadow, if it was moving, if it seemed to be alive. Be interesting to hear your thoughts, hear your feelings on that, Joe. Yeah, that sounds super interesting. Mm-hmm.
Let's go to T-Bone. Does listening to a certain frequency help?
For some people, yeah. Like the hearing is the first thing to activate in a person's psychic development. And so some people, like musicians and stuff, are audio based. And so for some people, frequencies can help. And then there are some frequencies that you can't even feel that can possibly help. So frequencies definitely help.
Let's go over to Richard. Eugene, can you please talk more about the Merkaba stars?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who don't even know what they are.
Yeah, the Merkaba. For a while, I didn't know what it was. I was like, because I woke up in this in the movie Contact, the gyroscope thing that Jodie Foster got in. I woke up in something like that after death. And I surmised that it had something to do with me getting into that astral state intact, because I regained consciousness in it. And as my invisible spirit body solidified at the same time, in sequence with the solidification of my spirit body. The green rotating sphere dissolved. So as one dissolved, the other one came into full clarity. And I checked into that. Sometimes when you want to know something, your mind can get it for you. After a few years, I found out that what that was a Merkaba, a star looking like, it's actually a method of spiritual transport, especially coming from the physical to the spiritual. There's another method of spiritual transport, like what I was talking about, the dimensional, and then there's so much we could get into. But yeah, the Merkaba is a vehicle of transport that is around the body and surrounds the body. And some people call it a spaceship. Some call it a UFO. But it is a biofield vehicle of transport. And it transported me to the astral realm, and I woke up in it during reconsciousness after death. But the Merkabas are interesting, yeah. It was involuntarily induced. I didn't ask for it. It was just there. Just like the spontaneous out of bodies and the uncontrolled out of bodies, where something beside yourself is taking you out of your body. That happens at the moment of death too. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to JSCO. There is a lot of material in your book about dreams and dream control, things that really work. What do you mean dream control?
Yes, thanks, JSCO. He's my good friend down south. Has a good voice, Jack. Wow, you've heard him, Dave? JSCO's
yes,
voice?
Beautiful
wow.
voice.
Woo. Like the real Johnny Cash, something like that. But I'm sorry, what was your question, Dave?
About dream control, what is it?
It's, well, dream control is the ability to recognize what happens in your dreams and then to be able to not manipulate. I hate when people use that word in the esoteric. Not manipulate, but interact or interface with your own dreams. You first recognize what patterns your dreams are in, and then you begin to practice. And you practice the dreamings, the visualizations, you practice the breathings, the visualizations as you go to sleep. And like I said, again, that book, Lucid Dreaming by Stephen LaBarge, is probably the best on dream control and lucid dreaming. If you read that, you'll know all you need to know about lucid dreaming. And with out of bodies, besides my own, chapter 3, the Scottish out of body pioneer from 1927, Sylvan Muldoon, was the best out of body person you can study. He knew it all. He was the only one. He had thousands just like me. He's the only one who knew as much as I did, and even had some things that I didn't. So those two, Sylvan Muldoon and Stephen LaBarge, can be some great library books because a lot of the studying is at least 40% of it, and then experiencing it, and then. But yeah, the dream control, that's super good. It can lead you to the out of bodies. And from a powerful dream, you can literally see God and be in that white light, which will change you. As soon as you wake up, you'll be literally a heavier and deeper person. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Let's go to T-Bone. What kind of crystals were you talking about earlier, Eugene?
Really, any kind of crystals that resonate with you, like any kind of crystal that you pick up in your hand and you can feel a pulse is good. Quartz crystals are usually good for me. You can go by the color. You want to clean them. I would start off with small ones, and then if you wanted bigger ones, you would slowly increase. But don't go out, if you haven't used them, don't go out and buy like a table-sized crystal and mess with it. You want to work your way up because it might take you places that you aren't ready to go yet. But start with a small one, then build your way up. But crystals definitely work. And then if you add silver with them, you can really explore that dream life. Most people, yeah, you definitely want the silver and the crystals, and it can just be like a silver necklace or silver band, or silver ring. I used to wear a silver ring or two, and you sleep outside. Son and I would sleep outside on the balcony. We'd do the breathings, have the crystals, and have these fantastic out of bodies and lucid dreams. But
Okay, one more question here before we get to your psychic experiment. Go to Joe. Eugene, is there a difference between a near-death experience and actually dying?
yeah, where the actual dying is where the permanent cutoff, where the person can't come back. And the near-death experience is the person experiences the afterlife and actually can get an extended view of it, whether they remember consciously or subconsciously. But one is permanent and the other is a temporary glimpse into it, as Dr. Grayson would say. But yeah, near death, you definitely get a look into it and a feeling about it. And that God's promise of life after death, he has kept his word, as he cannot lie. But yeah, they're different, and the one is a permanent death. And that'd be an interesting thing too. But life, the energy does go on. The life force is reanimated by an external force, that is God, the controller. The person achieves resurrection after death between 15 and 22 seconds. And doctors are reviving 700 people a day who can testify that it is real and it does happen. But there is life after death, but there are also aliens. Mm-hmm.
You want to do a little bit of a psychic experiment.
Yeah, only take a couple of seconds. Yeah, won't take long. And you try it too. It's super good, super interesting. It has to do with that telepathy thing too.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm already thinking of a number. We'll make the number we'll do it twice. We'll make the number between 1 and 5. Without thinking of any number, just say any number between 1 and 5. Don't think. There is no wrong answer.
2.
Okay, you get 2 more chances.
1.
No. Just don't think. Just say anything.
Okay, sorry. You said to pick a number between 1 and 5.
Yeah, just let it come out. Don't even
4.
think. It was 3. It was 3. Mm-hmm. But the wrong answers show you which feelings are correct and which feelings are not correct. Okay, we're going to try it one more time. Between 1 and 5, it won't be 3. Just let the number, sometimes you can see it, but whatever number just pops into your mind, say it.
5.
5. You did it. Here's the 3. Yeah. It's that just like when you go to the carnival and the balloon thing is there and the girl wants the prize. So there's 3 balloons, red, blue, and yellow, and you don't know which one to pick. Go with the automatic first hunch or intuition. It'll always be right. Like sometimes you have to go on first thought and second impulse, and then other times you have to go on first impulse, second thought. It's interesting how the mind works. But that was the experiment.
That always screws me up on roulette. If I'm at a casino, because I think roulette is such an interesting game, except I am absolutely terrible at it and rarely play it. But when I think red, it's black. If I think black, it's red. You know, it's always polar opposite. And then when I trust that polar opposite, then it goes the opposite way.
Okay, then maybe you have to use the will where you say it. Instead of thinking red, say it's going to be red. Sometimes you can use the will to influence a lot of things in the real world. Like you can just say it. There are other experiments like little psychic experiments like that, where you can get dice and play with that. I've done it where you can get the same number several times. A lot depends on how hard you think something is. The easier you think it is, the easier you can get it. And anything. But the mind, once when my son was 2, he was sitting outside And I looked out the window. I was the paranoid parent, so I'm like looking out the window, and I see him down there. And I said, let me try the psychic test to him, see if he can hear me. So inside my mind, I said, Eddie. And he heard something and looked around. At the time, he was just playing with a bumblebee. And I said, Eddie, again. And the second time, he looked straight up and said, Dad. And he had heard me. So I called my dad and told him, and I started training him after that in the breathings and all that. But yeah, the reception and receiving works. And we played many a games like those, numbers and stuff during our car rides and as he grew up. But it's a fun thing to do. And it's interesting to know the mind, how it works. And because, we actually have three, but we have two main minds, our subconscious and our conscious. Subconscious is always there, but the conscious mind is the boss. We have to be nonverbal and let the conscious mind, which automatically knows, just like when you picked the five, that was the subconscious mind telling you automatically that it was it. And you went with it and it was automatically right. So once those two minds begin to communicate with each other, know each other, and communicate nonverbally, then you can start having and getting anything you want. But by the time you get to that level, the things in this world will be of little interest to you because there'll be a lot of other deep things you can get. Knowing what someone's thinking while he's talking to you, telling someone, let's go to McDonald's, and they ask you if you want to go. There's a lot of interesting, just knowing things, going to see God, merging with God. Imagine how that would be to merge into God, to feel the white light, to be much more than you are. So this field of scientific study, it's really spiritual science, is one of the highest things a person can do in this life, besides maybe being a parent or being a cop, doctor, a minister, something like that. It's a high thing to spiritual knowledge of self. It's a worthwhile thing too.
Eugene, is it all just power of the mind? Is that it? It's just power of the mind?
No, a lot of it has to do with that God force, that God faith, and that God belief, and that God connection. Without it, we would literally just fall over dead. And he's the anchor. He's the fountainhead. He's the ultimate. With him, you can have anything you want on the way up. But when you strive to him, you'll have all those things and so much more. And also before we go, I have a few quick quotes that your audience will love too. But it's all about God, and he is there. If you say, like, I was like Moses, I said, I don't believe in anything I don't want to see. And I said, God, I will believe in you when I see you. And I asked God to show himself to me. And I had that near death, and he showed himself to me. And in other times before too. Once I almost got hit by a car, but I was running down the hill and was going to jump over the whole sidewalk. There was only one lane. And a gang of gangsters almost hit me. I stopped. A voice told me to stop. And I stopped on one foot, and they swept right by me. It would have knocked me like 45 yards into the air. So it's been but the God thing, with that, the whole world opens up.
We have just about 2.5 minutes left with you, and I'm looking at this, and people have been absolutely amazingly responsive to the answers that you have, including Benno here saying, you look and sound like a real-life wise Jedi. And I think a lot of people would agree with that for you tonight. What is your journey now? Where do you go from here?
Well, business-wise, I have the Betty Hill film coming out. In '99, Betty Hill and Barney Hill were family friends of my parents. Barney was from Philly, and he was friends with my dad before anyone met Betty. So in the 50s, they met each other, the four of them. And then in the 60s, they would bring me and little brother up to their house in New Hampshire, and we would stay the weekends in the winter and summer and listen to her famous story. And then on the way back, we'd talk about UFOs and look for them too. In fact, later I would have some scars on my body that Dad asked me where I got them from. I never knew. They were abduction scars, Dr. J would later say, tell me. I showed him, and they stretch like rubber bands and then go right back to their original shape. I'll have to show you, Dave. Maybe I can take some pictures, but I'll show you definitely when we meet. Yes.
Do me a favor. Take about 35 seconds. Tell everybody where they can find your book and more information on you.
Yeah, definitely go to the website. If not, just contact me on Facebook or Twitter, or Facebook is probably the best, or email. But go to the website, Eugene Braxton at Wix.com, or America's Mystic at Wix.com. And you can order the book there. It has tons of information. I wish you guys could have heard these quotes. I know we don't have enough time. Tons of info, and yeah, definitely get the book there.
Eugene Braxton, everybody. Coming up next, we have Swamp Dweller, then Little Timmy James with the UFO report.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Great job tonight, Eugene. Thank you, my beautiful friend. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Yeah, you've been a good friend.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. You're amazing.
We shall soon meet and have that 4 and 5 hour talk, which will go by
I hope
fast
so.
too. In
I'm
fact,
looking forward to it, my brother.
we should
Thank you
actually
very
record
much.
that. Yes.
You take care. I got to run, but we'll
All right,
chat
Dave.
soon, okay?
All right, thanks, my man.
All right. Take care.
You-
Eugene Braxton, everybody. Love that man. Absolutely love that man. We'll be right back. All right. Let's bring in little Timmy James. How's the editing going?
Oh, it's going. It's going.
Which part are you through?
Oh. Well, was watching some of the GoPro stuff, and
Yeah.
while converting over some of the stuff up, like from MOV files to MP4s, and yeah, so there's lots of footage, dude, a lot.
Yeah, we were stupid. A little bit stupid.
I, just a wee bit. Got a pounding headache, so yeah, it tells you something.
Anything cool?
Not necessarily yet. There's some stuff that I went, ooh, and I just wrote down and marked, but haven't dug into it yet.
All right. Here we go, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Swamp Dweller and little Timmy James of the UFO Report coming up here momentarily. But first, we want to say hello to everyone tuning us in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Raptus. Raptus is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night, right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Hello, my name is Clara. I've been a big fan of the show for quite some time. I live in the upper state of Michigan, and I love to hike and camp along with some hunting. I went out one day with my stepdad to go hunting so we could catch some deer and whatnot. Once we got out to where we were hunting, we packed up the gear we had brought from our house. I smelled something foul, like a pile of garbage or rotting fish mixed with some lousy body odor. We ignored it as we thought it was something dead lying nearby. We made our way through the woods onto a beaten-down path that we had found. Once we got quite a ways down it, we stopped and took a couple of minutes to take a break. We heard a massive crack in the background behind some large bushes, like something had broken a big branch. My stepdad instinctively grabbed his sidearm from his holster, which is when whatever it was growled at us and sped off. Whatever it was, it sounded big and very quick. We ignored it and hiked even faster to where we needed to go. Once we got there, we set up camp and started to make lunch. We had a hot dog and a side of salad. As we ate, I began to smell that putrid smell again, almost making me vomit my food. I had to pee, so I went off. With it being near dusk, I grabbed a flashlight and a hunting knife that I had brought with me. I squatted down as I was about to take a pee until I saw something move in the distance. I shined my flashlight at whatever was moving. I could see orange or red glowing eyes shining as I became frightened. I pulled my pants back up and ran back to the camp. I told my dad what had happened and he went to check it out. After a couple of minutes, I heard a scream in the direction my dad had walked off. He ran back panicking. He had blood oozing down his knee. I asked him what had happened, but he stayed in silent mode. He packed our stuff as fast as possible and walked quickly back to the truck. Once we got halfway there, we heard a loud call from something that I had never heard before. At that moment, we started running as fast as we could, nearly tripping over roots and rocks, until after a couple of minutes or so, we finally made it back to our truck, packed everything in the back, and sped out of there like a bat out of hell. We came home and went to sleep, but before that, I saw his knee, and it looked like a big rock had hit it.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another creepy story. If you want more just like that, head on over to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, and hit the play button. That's all you got to do. Got thousands of stories there for you each and every night. Time for the UFO report.
That is an interplanetary flying space saucer. You have made me very angry. Very angry indeed.
All right, we have Tim James here in for the UFO report. Never like it when you're in studio. Why are you at home?
Because I'm going through 475,000 gigawatt bytes of of our footage from Saturday, trying to break it up and get it in some sort of cohesive order. And yeah, I'm having a blast doing it too.
Do we need to figure something out? Because I think you're going to get frustrated.
No. I've had a brutal headache for the last couple of days, and then sitting here and working on, cutting and splicing and stuff just aggravates it. So it is what it is. But no, it's all good. I think we've got it handled quite nicely. Actually, I think the way that we set up the cameras and stuff will give us the opportunity to maybe do some split screening and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's going to be fine. It'll be fine.
You were getting technical.
Yeah,
you were
I know.
Totally getting technical.
It's still going to look raw.
That wasn't the purpose of this whole thing.
No, but yeah, you know which way the cameras were set up, and I'm thinking, if we get sightings or get something going on one camera and the other one's focused on us, yeah, it'll look sharp.
Are you going to give us any hints or clues on anything that we found? Did it capture on tape?
There's still the one that I'm just going to give you a tidbit. So the one that you thought you heard with the chatter and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure we caught it, but it's very, very, very faint. So I am working on splitting the levels and bringing that background sound up a little bit more than our sound to see if it'll resonate a little bit more.
Well, we know it has sound to it. Because we know we caught that on camera. We checked.
Yeah.
The question is, what does it sound like on video?
Well, pretty much similar, unless I get the headsets on and stuff, because I'm just working through the computer speakers. But I think once it gets out on TV or on the YouTube and stuff, and everybody can sit and watch it, you'll get a much better audio production than just listening through these little tin can speakers that I have here.
Well, one of the things that we should point out on our adventures to Flight 21,
yes,
when we heard that noise, to both Tim and myself, it sounded like a brief samurai chatter from Sasquatch.
Yep.
It did. Yeah. And so now we have to figure out, was our ears playing tricks on us, or did it actually happen? We know there's a sound there. We've heard the sound on camera. It's very faint. Because when that sound was made, it was probably 50 yards from us.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So now we just have to figure out, how did it come through?
I will be working on it, and we will present it.
Did you get a chance to listen to Robin Haynes last night? Talking about it?
I did not. What did she have to say about it?
Well, if you get an opportunity to sneak about 5-6 minutes of your time where we are talking about that last night.
Oh, okay.
She does believe that the coin that we left that was taken, the quarter, was taken by a human.
Okay.
She even describes what the young lad looks like.
No way.
Yeah.
Huh.
And then she said something that was completely truthful that she didn't know.
Okay.
She goes, she called the one the big guy.
Okay.
Sasquatch, the big guy. saying that he keeps showing me 3 coins, like he has collected 3 coins from you.
Mm-hmm.
So back in 2018, there was a nickel.
Right.
Then there was the nickel on the ball
Mm-hmm.
that we put back in the tree that disappeared as well, and the loonie.
Oh.
That's 3 coins.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. That is cool. Well, obviously we'll see with the new show too. Everybody will see it. But I'm waiting for Saturday again because I want to see if the marbles have been taken or if they've been swapped out as well. That'll be interesting.
Well, the other thing too is Mark Spender, our armed guard from last year. He's going to come and join us as well. So that
cool.
way, what we're going to be doing on our little feature on our YouTube channel on Flight 21, the cause and effect, is we are going to be interviewing some people who've had experiences there.
Right.
About what they've seen, what they're doing, where they were when things have happened. And Mark has had a number of experiences up there. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out and what is the reaction from what's around us being there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So for people who are asking,
yes,
is there a timeline of when that video might be ready?
I am pushing hard for before the weekend. So I was hoping for tomorrow, but yeah, there's so much footage. I'm really, really, really pushing hard for Friday. At some point Friday, it will be this week. We won't
before the end of the weekend.
I would 100% guarantee that.
So if you're looking to find it on our YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
what you want to do is you want to go to our YouTube channel, go to the home page for videos, and then scroll down. We have a section there. There's only one video in it so far. There will be more as time goes on. It's about Flight 21. Cause and Effect is the first one. We'll come up with a fun title for the second one as well. And, we're going to have some fun. Let's get to some UFO news because we do have to talk about the UFO report here. Lots going on right now.
There seems to be a lot going on, but it's not real super explosive. I mean, there is lots of tidbits and stuff floating around, but yeah, everything from the 2027 UFO doomsday conspiracy to mysterious crop circles in New Mexico, and some emails that were released by the Navy that oopsed, and so we can start with that one. So.
Sure.
So newly released Navy emails revealed UFO coordination, Five Eyes briefings, and forgotten redactions. So a recent release of internal U.S. Navy emails obtained through the Freedom of Information Act has shed new light on the military's handling of UAPs. The document spanning late 2021 revealed previously undisclosed details about coordination efforts, international briefings, and administrative oversights in the Navy's approach to UFO investigations. The emails highlight discussions involving the UAP task force, a now defunct Pentagon group tasked with studying unexplained aerial sightings, and confirm high-level engagement with the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, which includes the United States, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. So the correspondence shows that on December 8th, 2021, the UAPTF members, including its directors, were scheduled to hold a classified briefing with representatives from Australia and Canada to discuss UAP detection, awareness, and mitigation strategies. This meeting underscores a collaborative effort among the Five Eyes nations to address the growing number of UFO and UAP reports, which have increasingly drawn attention from military and civilian sectors alike. The email suggests that the U.S. shared data on UAP and UFO incidents, including those reported by civilian sources like the Federal Aviation Administration, indicating a broader effort to integrate external sightings into the military analysis. Additionally, the documents expose an administrative error in the Navy's releasing process, which while redactions were applied to protect personal information under the Freedom of Information Act, some email addresses and phone numbers were inadvertently left unredacted, revealing sensitive details. This oversight has raised questions about the Navy's handling of classified information and its transparency with the public. The emails also reflect internal efforts to streamline UFO and UAP reporting and analysis, with discussions about task force workflows and the processing of incoming sighting reports. While no definitive conclusion about the nature of the UFOs or UAPs are detailed in the documents, they emphasize the military's serious approach to investigating these phenomena, driven by concerns over airspace safety and national security. The involvement of the Five Eyes partners further suggests that UAPs are being treated as a global issue, prompting coordination responses across allied nations. So, yeah, that was released, I think, by the Black Vault, if I remember correctly. And it's, how would you put it? It's not a boring read, but it's a lengthy, drawn out read. So if anybody wants to check it out, it's out on, like I say, on all social media networks and stuff like that. And yeah, the people that put it out, that received the emails, actually went through and did a proper redaction on people's phone numbers and stuff. So they aren't available anymore, but it gets into quite a lot of detail on what their approaches and stuff were. It's quite an interesting read.
You know what I find interesting about it is here we're told that none of these talks are happening. None of these talks are even being progressive in the subject. Nobody's really talking about it. I mean, that's pretty much what Arrow has said under Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick and many others. That no, we're not talking about. We're not very interested in this. I mean, everything we've found seems to be explainable. And yet here we are having the Five Eyes nations of the U.S., Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada having these talks. I mean, with you and I being both Canadian, the one thing that I find very interesting about it is Sky Canada's report is sitting there waiting to come out about this subject, and they're not going to do anything about it. The chances of it getting released die every single day.
Yes.
It was supposed to come out last fall, then it was December, then it was early in the new year. Well, we're 6 months into this year now, and we're still nowhere closer to that report. And yet the Canadian military and government, and obviously spy agencies, are still having these conversations. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, and to add insult to injury, and following the way that you're leading here, is that they gave us, I can't even remember when this was, what was it, just middle of winter or just early winter? They gave us a preview of what it was about and what they were going to be talking about, and what it was and what it wasn't. And it was like, okay. And I was getting emails from my source over there saying, yep, it's all coming. Here it is. Here's that. Here's this. And then, and I think it had something to do with Dear Leader and that transition that happened. So everything kind of fell to the wayside, just me speculating. But yeah, it's sitting there doing nothing. And we're all like, what's going on? And I have emailed my guy and haven't heard anything at all. So
yeah, I think it's a dead topic.
I think you're right.
The UFOs have crashed in Canada. That's what I think's going on. Yeah, I just don't understand how all these, it's ironic. And for people who are just getting into the UFO story, this is the stupidity that we have to deal with on a daily basis, where you have government officials saying they're not doing anything about it. They can't figure it out. They're not really interested. It's not a big deal. You have, and this is outside of the so-called whistleblowers, outside of the big four who are big four Congress people who are trying to get this through. It really is a mute topic for the majority of politicians out there in the world. They don't want to divest their interest in this subject. or invest their interest, I should say,
Yeah.
in this subject. So when you hear all of a sudden the Five Eyes Defense Corps talking about it and having meetings about it, it's just the irony is huge, and I find it
kidding.
very, very odd.
Agreed. 100%. Yeah. I don't understand it either. And yeah. And especially for Canada. I mean, they spent so much, so much of this time putting it together and being, for lack of a better term, and I hate the word, is transparent about doing all of this. Yeah. And all of a sudden you find out, hang on a second. You said that, oh, you were there. Oh, okay. Yeah. So still lots of secrecy going on. Doesn't matter what country you live in, I suppose.
We got 3.5 minutes here before we got to go to break. Tee up the next story.
Well, did you see the Christopher Mellon went and did quite it was a cerebral sort of interview on and kind of self-interview, and it's a discussion about we are not alone. Yeah, he really dug deep into some stuff, and it was quite, like I said, cerebral. And I watched as much as I could take of it, and then had to stop and then go back to it because, yeah, it's quite in depth, and he got quite philosophical about stuff. But it was good, and I kind of broke it down, and I've got an article, little report on that coming up, I guess, in the next 10 minutes or so. So yeah.
Right. Did you see the article about Arrow director John Kozlowski on ABC News saying he hasn't been able to corroborate the claims of U.S. recovery of UAP spacecraft, but it's possible. Here's the open door they always give us. On tape, he says, it is possible there's a secret program that you just don't know about, the reporter asks. And Kozlowski answers it, anything's possible. And then he starts smiling and giggling. Like, what is with the tease? Are we not above that right now? Have we not gone far enough?
You would think so. It's like an upper body injury, right? Just spill the beans, man. you know what's going on. You know what's happening. Yeah, and we should be past that. But yeah, I guess he's getting comfortable in his position. But yes, I did see a little bit on that, and I was like, nothing to see here. Taking a play out of the old playbook from somebody else.
You know, we need. If I could, I would do a Chief Wiggum T-shirt for our store.
Yeah.
Nothing to see here with UFOs flying over. I totally would do that.
Yeah. I don't know how well that would go over, but yes.
Yeah, I'm sure there would be a lawsuit following that, or a cease and desist, more likely. For my $8 profit on a T-shirt.
Yeah. Exactly.
Why not? But yeah, I thought his comment when I've watched it about 6 times now. And I think his comment is very smug.
Yeah.
Not as smug as Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, but very smug, leading people on, keeping the door open a crack, even though his job is to close the door on any publicity that is supposed to be out there, even though he's supposed to be transparent. I just find it interesting.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't like that stuff.
No.
It's almost the same thing, when you got this friend who tells you, dude, I got to tell you something real important. You're not going to like it. It's going to really bug you, but I can't tell you until tomorrow morning. And it's like 11 a.m. the day before. Well, no, tell me now.
Yeah, you've just stirred it up.
Oh, man. Tim James and the UFO Report continue on Spaced Out Radio when we return after our final break of the night.
This is Spaced Out Radio and your host, Dave Scott.
All right, we're clear. How about them Oilers tonight?
No, I know.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. There was some screaming in my house.
Oh, I'll bet.
Oh,
I'll bet. Well, it started off a little rough, didn't it? It was like,
Well, we
uh-oh.
went up 1-0,
Mm-hmm.
and then Florida scored 3,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had to battle back in the second and third.
Go Oilers.
We were all over them, though.
Yeah.
We were all over them.
Yeah. Was
You know?
watching some of the highlights.
Yeah. Me too.
Excellent.
Me too.
They've got another home game in Edmonton.
Yeah. Edmonton Friday, and then Sunday, Tuesday in Florida, and then back to Edmonton for Thursday. Saturday would be Florida for Game 6 if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And Monday or Tuesday night would be Game 7 if necessary.
Uh-huh. So was Sunday like one of those goofy 2:00 in the afternoon games,
I don't
or?
know. Let me check the schedule.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's get to the real stuff here. The real stuff of the important stuff.
That's right.
Let's go NHL. Let's go. What's today? Wednesday. All right. So I don't want MLB. What the hell would I want MLB for? I love MLB, but oh no, they play. Sorry, they get the weekend off. They go Wednesday, Friday, and then Game 3 Monday in Florida, which means Game 4 would be Wednesday, with Game 5 the following Friday in Edmonton.
Right.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it.
No kid. Go Cubs. What? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that sounds like Sackage.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's Sackage. All you had to say was "Go Cubs," and I knew immediately it was her.
Yeah. Just one of those things when you nickname something the Cubs and everybody calls them Cubbies. It's like, what the heck is that?
She's the kind of person who would go to Wrigley Field and chew juicy fruit.
Oh, Nicole.
Yeah, Nicole plays that game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
She's like, hell no. Thomas Rock, how you doing?
How was your day, dude?
It was slow today.
Apparently all over town.
Yeah. It was slow. We got just over a minute.
Okay. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I know. It just snuck up on me.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I got the other computer going here, and I'm like still working on video.
Thank you tonight to Debaruni ×2, Mark ×2, Deadfish ×2, JSCO, Amy, and T-Bone, my man, for the great super chats. Greatly appreciate your love and support. And reminder to all of you, you can get some really cool stuff and look good by shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag, so make sure you check it on out. Tomorrow night, it's me. Friday night, Tim James and Lee Strauss for Element 115, followed by me next. Then the weekend, we got Sweet Robbie G coming on in and making things happen. Here we go, everybody. Like 7 seconds. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We got Tim James, our UFO reporter, on the big show, giving us the UFO report, the rundown of what's happening with the aliens in the world. But first, we want to remind you that if you missed portions of this Sasquatch, what the hell does that mean?
Uh-huh.
If you missed portion, I read Sasquatch in the chat room from Joe in the chat room. My eyes just caught attention. The minute I see Sasquatch, it's like, huh? What? Who? What? Anyways, if you missed portions of this show or others, or you've missed all of this show or others, our archives are always free. Why are they free, Tim?
Because that's the way you want it, Dave.
It's exactly the way I want it. And why do I want it that way?
Just because that's the way you want it, and everything good should be free.
Exactly. No capitalism here to the people who hate capitalism. Right? Anyways, check it on out our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The former Secretary of Defense, or Deputy Secretary of Defense and Intelligence, Chris Mellon, once again, pen to paper, fingers to keyboard, typing out another op-ed that we are not alone. Go ahead with that one, Tim.
Yeah, so thank you for the lead in, sir. So in a thought-provoking discussion titled We Are Not Alone, Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, has ignited more public interest in UAP and UFOs and their implications for humanity's place in the cosmos. So Mellon, a longtime advocate for transparency in UAP and UFO investigations, argued that mounting evidence suggests the presence of advanced non-human technology visiting Earth, challenging conventional assumptions about our solitude in the universe. His reflections, grounded in decades of experience in national security and intelligence, call for a serious reevaluation of how governments and societies approach the phenomenon. Mellon's remarks draw from his involvement in high-profile UAP disclosures, including his role in releasing declassified Navy videos in 2017 that captured unexplained objects exhibiting extraordinary capabilities such as hypersonic speeds and maneuvers defying known aerodynamics. These incidents, corroborated by military pilots and advanced sensor systems, have fueled a shift in how UAPs are perceived, moving them from fringe speculation to a matter of national security. There's the national security again. Mellon's emphasizes that the U.S. government's acknowledgement of over 800 military UFO UAP encounters since 2004, as noted in reports following the 2021 preliminary assessment, underscores the urgency of understanding these phenomena. He argues that the capabilities displayed, such as objects descending from 80,000 feet to hover near the ocean, point to technology far beyond human engineering, raising the possibility of extraterrestrial origins. The former official's reflections go beyond technical analysis, delving into the philosophical and societal implications of UFOs. He suggests that confirming the existence of advanced civilizations could unite humanity against shared global challenges, such as climate change, nuclear proliferation, and risks of artificial intelligence. Mellon posts that the shock of such a revelation could reframe international perspectives, fostering collaboration in the face of common cosmic reality. However, he cautions that an abrupt, unmanaged disclosure might unsettle millions, advocating for a controlled approach to prepare societies for this paradigm shift. His call for rigorous scientific investigation, coupled with government transparency, aligns with his efforts to establish entities like the Pentagon's Arrow and his affiliation with Harvard's Galileo Project, which seeks evidence of extraterrestrial technologies. Mellon's discussion also critiques the historical reluctance and institutions like the U.S. Air Force to engage with UFO and UAP reports, citing cases like the 2004 USS Nimitz encounter where pilots' accounts were initially dismissed. He argues that this dismissal reflects a broader failure to prioritize intellectual curiosity and national security, potentially leaving humanity unprepared for the implications of advanced non-human presence. By framing UFOs and UAPs as both a scientific and existential question, Mellon challenges policymakers and the public to confront the possibility that we aren't alone and to embrace the transformation potential of that reality. And it is his words are much more eloquent than I wrote. He's very
very
good.
brilliant man.
Yes.
Very brilliant man. Here's my problem with Chris Mellon, and I may take some heat for this.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make it sound like I'm picking on him or anything, because I believe his statement. I do. But it's almost the same statement that he releases every few months when he releases one of his op-eds. We're not alone. There are certain groups that could really take this a far way. In this case, it was, Avi Loeb's group, and it just seems the same thing each time. We need more transparency. We need to start talking about this in public. Let us know what you know. What are we hiding? Dude, you were in the position of having those secrets. That's what brought you into this topic before. What are you hiding, Chris Mellon? I mean, it's almost the same as NASA. Okay, where they play the nothing to see here card. And I find that very frustrating, Tim.
Yeah.
Because Chris Mellon is a brilliant man. He knows more about this subject than on his pinky finger than most of us who've been doing this for years know. And we're talking the insider information here.
Yeah.
We're all looking for crumbs. He's eating steak and lobster at the main table.
Yes. And it's, you're right. And it's funny because
I'm sure he means well. I'm sure he means very, very well. And he is eloquent. He is understanding. And he does have one of those power names in Washington, D.C. that when he speaks, people listen. Right. And I also understand that us in the UFO community are not his primary target. Right. His primary target is getting that message to the loads of people within Washington, D.C. who continue to dismiss or deny the UFO/UAP subject. I get that. But I want more. I want more answers, not the same speech and the same piece of writing every 4 to 8 months, whether it's on Medium, whether it's in the Washington Post, whether it's anywhere, because that's what it is. And Mr. Mellon has a very, very important role in this. I've always thought that. I mean, let's face it, the suits he wears, Tim, one suit is worth more than yours and my wardrobe combined.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And that includes all of our hunting gear, right? I mean, that's definitely tailored to fit each arm.
No question.
But
you're right. And well, no, it was just funny. I was just going to make a point. It was like, yeah, you're right. Because I mean, even Lee and Grant were talking about that tonight on the show, and it's a regurge, and it brings us back to last week when we were talking about, new faces. We need new faces. I don't think they hear themselves after a while. I think they just recite. It just becomes, muscle memory, and they go in there and they change it up. But you're right. They've got to, they've got to turn a page and write something new or bring something new to the table, or else we need new people.
We do. All right. What else do you got for us?
All right. Well, this is an interesting one. Kind of was one of those woo things. So, mysterious crop circles in New Mexico sparked speculation about a Roswell connection. So, as of the other day, a sprawling crop circle discovered in a remote wheat field near Roswell, New Mexico, has reignited fervent debate among UFO enthusiasts and local residents, with some claiming it carries a cryptic warning tied to the infamous 1947 Roswell incident. The intricate design, stretching nearly 200 feet in diameter, was spotted early Monday morning by a local farmer who alerted authorities after noticing the unusual pattern from his tractor. I would say so. 200 feet? That's huge. So the crop circle, characterized as a complex series of interlocking spirals and geometric shapes, has drawn comparisons to symbols allegedly linked to extraterrestrial communication. Speculation about its meaning has centered on a provocative theory. The design is a cautionary message urging humanity to be aware of false gifts and promises supposedly offered by a lone surviving entity from the 1947 Roswell crash. The incident, long shrouded in mystery, involved an alleged recovery of a crash flying disc by U.S. military, an event later officially attributed to a weather balloon, but widely believed to be by some to involve extraterrestrial beings. So, local UFO researcher Clara Hensley, who has studied the Roswell incident for over a decade, described the crop circles as a potential breakthrough in understanding the broader implications of what happened here nearly 8 decades ago. Hensley suggested that the pattern might symbolize a warning about advanced technology or knowledge purportedly shared by an extraterrestrial survivor, which she claims could have unforeseen consequences for humanity. If there was a surviving entity, as some accounts suggest, what did it offer us, and at what cost? She asked during an interview at the site. Skeptics, however, urge caution. Dr. Michael Rivera, a professor of agronomy at New Mexico State University, examined the crop circle and noted that while the design is intricate, it bears hallmarks of human craftsmanship. Surprise! The precision of the bends in the wheat stalks and the absence of clear evidence and non-human tools pointing to terrestrial origin, Rivera said. He acknowledged the cultural significance of the finding in Roswell, a town synonymous with UFO lore, but emphasized that no definitive link to extraterrestrial activity has been established. The crop circles has drawn crowds to the site, with some visitors claiming to feel strange energies in the area. Local authorities have cordoned off the field and to preserve the formation and prevent damage, while the Roswell UFO Museum has announced plans to document the circle as part of its ongoing exhibit on unexplained phenomena. Museum curator Mark Grayson called the discovery a fascinating addition to Roswell's legacy, noting that it could inspire new discussion about humanity's place in the cosmos. For now, the crop circle remains an enigma, its origins and meaning open to interpretation. Whether it's a warning from beyond, a human-made artwork, or something else entirely, it has once again put Roswell at the center of the global curiosity about the unknown. As Hensley put it, this could be a message we're only beginning to understand, or a reminder that the mysteries are meant to endure. So I was like, really? So people are now reading crop circles and they have messages in them.
That doesn't surprise me. If they are the alien ones, the human ones don't seem to have that message. I think we want them to have that message.
Mm-hmm.
I love crop circles. I can honestly tell you, man, out of all the phenomena that I have seen and experienced, I think it would be absolutely amazing to actually step into or fly above a crop circle.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
the intricacy of it all is amazing. And how the wheat or barley or whatever they are knocking down the corn,
Hmm.
how the stalks are not broken
Yes.
is even more
Yeah.
weird.
They do look cool. I have to admit, I don't care how they're made. Whatever. You're right. They do look super neat, and there are some spectacular ones actually, quite artistic.
Oh, totally.
Hmm.
Totally. I mean, I want to believe they're aliens. I
Hmm.
really do, but I don't know if they are.
True. True. So, got something else for you. Did you
We
ever
got
hear
about
about
5.5 minutes, 6 minutes.
Perfect? Did you ever hear about Juan and the UFO encounter and his goats? So,
Oh no.
oh yeah. So in 2004, in a dusty, sun-scorched fields of rural Mexico, a goat farmer named Juan Morales, a weathered 52-year-old with a penchant for storytelling, stumbled into a UFO encounter that became the talk of his small village for years. It was just after dusk, with the sky turning a deep purple, when Juan was herding his goats back into the pen after a long day of grazing. As he whistled to keep the stragglers moving, he noticed a strange pulsating glow over the nearby hill. Thinking it might be kids with flashlights or a low flying plane of some sort, he trudged towards it, only to freeze when a gleaming silver disc, roughly the size of a small house, with no visible seams or windows, descended silently into the field, flattening the dry grass beneath it. Juan later told the local cantina crowd that two figures, no taller than 4 feet, emerged from the hatch that slid open with a faint hiss. They were shiny, almost metallic looking, with oversized almond shaped heads and spindly limbs that moved with an odd, jerky grace. Each carried glowing sticks that hummed softly, and they began inspecting Juan's goats, waving the sticks over the animals as if scanning them. The goats, usually skittish, stood eerily calm, munching grass as if the extraterrestrial visitors were there and it was just another Tuesday. One of the aliens, perhaps distracted by the particularly plump goat, stepped right into a fresh pile of goat dung. Juan swore it flailed its arms wildly like a city slicker slipping on ice, letting out a high pitched squeak that sounded almost indignant. The second alien, seemingly exasperated, grabbed its partner's arm and to steady it. And Juan could have sworn they exchanged a glance like an old married couple bickering over directions. The clumsy alien shook its foot, trying to dislodge the mess, which only made Juan stifle a laugh despite his pounding heart. The aliens, apparently done with their goat audit, turned their glowing sticks towards Juan, who was still clutching his herding staff like a lifeline. He said or or where their eyes should have been, seemed to bore right through him, sending a chill down his spine. But before he could decide whether to run or wave, they scurried back to their craft, the clumsy one still limping slightly from its manure mishap. The disc lit up, and the soft blue glow hummed louder than before and shot into the sky, leaving a faint trail of sparks that vanished within seconds. Juan stood there, dumbfounded, as his goats bleated like nothing had happened. Next morning, Juan noticed that one of his goats, a notoriously stubborn nanny, produced double her usual milk yield, rich and creamier than ever. He took it as a sign the aliens had done something to her, though he couldn't say what. Word of the encounter spread like wildfire through the village, with neighbors flocking to Juan's farm to hear the tale. They dubbed it the night the aliens went goat tipping, joking that the visitors were after the secret of Juan's stinky but apparently cosmic grade goats. Some even suggest the aliens were intergalactic dairy enthusiasts who botched their mission thanks to the slippery misstep. So, years later, a local artist even painted a mural on the cantina wall depicting a wide-eyed alien sprawled in dung while goats looked on smugly. Juan, who passed away in 2018, never wavered from his story, insisting until his final days that he'd seen the universe's clumsiest explorers.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go. Don't let aliens
gosh.
step in your dung.
Alien goat tippers.
Right.
That is amazing. Poor Juan, man. Taking that to his grave, knowing that the aliens, showed up to, tip his goats, play in their poop, and do all sorts of weird things.
Oh,
It
yes.
doesn't surprise me, though.
Nope.
It doesn't surprise me.
Well, it just proves that aliens are clumsy too, right?
At least he didn't have them taken out, and we've seen a lot of animals that have been kind of offed by these creatures.
Yes.
Not these goats.
Nope.
He got the D-League aliens. That's what he got.
What's that smell?
Can you imagine seeing an alien walking through the forest or walking through the farm and all of a sudden picking up his foot oh, crap.
Literally.
That's coming in. That's coming into the system here or into the spaceship. Oh, my gosh.
Exactly. All right, Coral, you're in the back. You stink.
Hey, Carl, go have a shower before you come up here into the cockpit. Right?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. We should give a quick shout-out to your lovely wife, Lorelei.
Hello.
And the reason why is when we were at Flight 21, she said, I feel like there's alien energy out there. And then she happened to be standing right beside the tree where Samantha Mowat, a year previous, had seen an alien walking by that same tree.
I know.
2 years previous. I love it.
She was totally happy.
Yeah, man.
Very happy.
I know what I'm doing for lunch tomorrow. I'm going to the ganachery.
Nice.
I need a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tim, thank you for a great night of UFO reporting. Really appreciate it. As we say goodnight to Tim. And hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night, everybody. Good job, Timmy.
Thank you, sir.
Way to go. I'll give you a few claps. Hi there, Thurston Howell III.
Do you believe in Tim Hendry?
Yeah, Joe said, say my name earlier in the chat room. I thought that was awesome. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Monk. I believe in Joe Monk.
Oh, right on.
Don't you love it when it's like you can still see daylight at like 10:40 at night?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And it's supposed to be a smoker this weekend, too.
Well, at least it'll hopefully keep the mosquitoes away from us.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Although I didn't have any troubles the other day.
No, and especially even after all the rain and then it warming up too. I thought, oh, we're going to get eaten alive, but nope. I'm good with not getting eaten by skeeters. But I had that wonderful thing happen last night when I was in bed. Dead quiet, and you get that. It's like, get the.
I hate that.
Me too.
That is a horrible sound.
Mm-hmm. Like,
Yeah, I don't know what's worse, that sound or tinnitus.
the tinnitus you just get used to because it's there constantly. Well, mine is, but yeah.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah.
Getting tired of it though.
Yeah, I don't know how you get rid of it. I've done just.
Let's see. If you go online, they tell you the same thing. Eat healthy, work out, lose weight, don't smoke, don't drink. So basically they say don't have fun.
Mm-hmm. No vices. Yeah.
Yeah. Candling your ears is supposed to work as well. But you got to go for like candle, wait a few days, go for another candle, wait a few days. Because apparently there's two little glands that kind of run down your side here.
Yeah.
And the tinnitus, when the noise can't get all through, those glands are probably years built up.
Oh.
Of earwax, yeah.
Gross. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other thing is too, it was probably playing in a rock band for like 15 years with no ear protection, and then working as a mechanic for 30 years without or not wearing ear protection. That doesn't help.
No, that it doesn't.
Mm-mm. All right, I'm gonna go get some Advil and call it a night.
All right, I'll probably come stop by and see you tomorrow.
Yeah, right on.
I'm off tomorrow.
So. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. I will see you then tomorrow.
Hey, buddy.
All right, man. Good night, everybody.
Tim James, everybody. For the rest of you, I'm going to go relax. And big thank you to all of you coming in tonight. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Really appreciate it. Thank you to T-Bone, Mark ×2, Amy, Deadman ×2, JSCO, and Deborah Rooney with a hat trick tonight of Super Chats. Appreciate the love and support. Dry Toast, how you doing? Best name on YouTube. That is for sure. You guys have a good night. Tomorrow night on the show, Courtney Marcassani will be with us to talk more about UFO stuff, because that's what we do. That's what we do. So, yeah, appreciate it. See you tomorrow, everybody. I'm going to go get some rest. Have a good night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
You need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.